this is the time to do it. You got one more week. If you're an American and Thanksgiving's coming up as it is for me, but you want to check out this one alt that you've always wanted to try out, we'll pass up on that Thanksgiving dinner because you really got to try it right now. It's never been this easy to level an alt, never been this easy to gear out an alt, and I suggest doing it. If you've always wanted to do it now. Fuck it, run it live. So we're going to check out what Bellular has to say about this. I'm pretty sure he's going to talk about much of the same that I've been, but let's see what he has to say.
Hey, there's a massive opportunity.
We're just waiting on a tank right now.
In the 30 to 40 range with a stack of rested XP,
and
you want the easiest leveling and gearing of basically your whole life, don't waste this opportunity. Matt got his rogue from level 46 all the way to 60 in around 3 hours of playtime, and in the meantime, he grinded just enough of the event currency to completely gear the character from eye level 154 to 252 as soon as he dinged. So that's it, completely ready for dragonflight leveling, which is balanced to be pretty much around that item level. So to say that this is crazy is really underselling it. It may not be that much faster for just XP than efficiently leveling, but it's the least amount of effort that...
It's not just leveling, by the way. With the Thanksgiving event that we just talked about, it's also reputation leveling. So you can easily gear out, rep out, and level out, all within this week.
Leveling and gearing has
if you just know life it.
Taken. So
go all out, go
let's
crazy.
Get into how. The main idea of this event is to farm mobs and the occasional boss to get bind on account primeval essences, which you trade in for gear. And it succeeds in that, but it's also a pretty crazy XP farm. The key here is that it's a never-ending wave of mob spawns, and around every 20 minutes, a boss appears. The packs that spawn from the portals usually have a few regular mobs and then an elite. Those normal ones give just over 1% of a level per kill, and the elites give about 3%.
Sin, did I end up inviting you?
That may not sound
Sin,
like
please requeue. I missed you.
There's a few things that make this absolutely crazy, though. First, infinite and rapid mob spawns. It never stops, meaning there's effectively zero downtime, unlike literally everywhere else in the game. Second, then, is the sheer amount of players. Lots of players, of course, means lots of kills. Now, this means there could be a few times where you might struggle to tag a mob, but one of the biggest wins is that elites do not have a tagging limit. So more players means, well, less mobs tagged normally, but it does mean more elites that spawn, and those can be tagged by everybody, and that makes up for it. Third, then, is that all of this XP is from killing
Interesting.
mobs.
I didn't know that about the tagging, but yeah, I didn't know that about the events. More people, more elites.
It gets the 100% bonus of rested XP. Now, that means that it, just doubles your speed. No ifs or buts. If you have parked alts level 10 or above, you can spend an hour or two to completely drain their rested XP bar and just nuke up the levels like crazy. Fourth, then, is that this is extremely easy. With questing, you have to do quests. With dungeons, you have to queue, follow a tank around, and, it might actually take...
scaling is nice for groups for that, for sure.
Bit of effort. This is literally just running around in circles, tagging mobs for as long as you want. In a way, it is boring. I won't deny that. But hey,
it's very grindy.
Look how much time so many of us spent killing gulp frogs in the Timeless Isle back in the day, and we lived back then. True. Just make sure, though, to turn your sound effects down, because it really is a lot on screen. But fifth is a good point.
By the way, that whole thing about being a lot on screen, I did talk about that in one of the one of my videos. It was crazy, the amount of effects and spells going off on screen. And the fact that I wasn't getting lag. I don't know what Blizzard did or how they're sharding this or what's going on with their servers, but I had all-time low lag. It was crazy to see the amount of people that were in the area, the amount of spells going off, and yet the game was running smoothly. I was blown away by that.
Is a good point that this actually is the most MMO-y that WoW has felt in a while. Just the act of mindlessly farming the same few mobs for a low drop rate currency in a zone utterly jammed with players feels kind of right. The enemies are simple, your frame rate will be in the single digits, but it's some weird type of MMO fun. So if you want to do this for yourself, here are the details on how much you'll actually need to gear up. So, getting the full set, it's 290 essences, then 25 for the cloak, though if you want all 4 cloak appearances, that'll be an extra 75. One-handed weapons and offhands cost 25, two-handers cost 45. That means that Demon Hunters, Rogues, Enhancement Shamans, Frost DKs, Prot Paladins, and Prot Warriors will need 50, but most others will need 45, and Fury Warriors will need 90. So, tough luck for you. Rings and necklace are all 25, so that'll be 75 for all three. Trinkets are 45, so that's 90 for both. So in total, if you want to fully gear up, most specs will need 525 essence, 530 for dual wielders, and Fury Warriors, 570. Then add 5 to that if you want the reagent bag. It's actually the only one that's available in-game right now, but I will note that when Dragonflight launches, you do kind of get one for free pretty quickly anyway. Now, if you want all the appearances, you're going to need 1160 for the 4 armor sets, an extra 100 for all 4 cloaks, so that's 1260 in total for the armor, and if you want all the new weapons, then that's an extra 300.
Fury, two-hand...
and 80, bringing the total up to 1640, add an
1640.
extra 100 if you want to get the Critter Vacuum toy, so that's 1740. Now, these are all sold
I got some
at
grinding to do. I really want the, what's it called? I want the transmog badly for the plate. It's a very nice transmog.
level 60,
If
so
you love
need a
dragon
catapult
hunting or
of
that, like, all
armor
that,
type
that
to
lore,
actually
you need it.
unlock them. And in our experience, getting the full 1740 essences should take around 10 to 11 hours based on our rough rates of acquisition, but there are some ways you could make it less daunting. Number 1, the mobs have a very small chance of dropping gear and weapons for your level.
Always use another death knight.
Though obviously that can vary greatly.
AldoCast, thank you for the sub. 4 months now, continuing to be a Death Knight of our Scourge.
Second then, the essences drop in
Thank you
chunks
so
from
much.
the boss that spawns in every 20 minutes. You can
We're doing Castle
AFK
Nathria right
and
now. We
fly
probably will start
nearby
Sanctum
and
of
tab
Domination right
back
after we finish
on
the
a
clear.
timer if you're purely there for the essences and you just want to have maybe a beep in your watch or phone that tells you to look at WoW again, you can totally do that. It's on a timer. Third, every character gets a burst of 120 essences. 60 comes from turning in a quest item, the Sigil of Storms, that drops once per
you
character.
keep being so thank
Then
you so
30
much,
comes
AldoCast.
from the quest that Khadgar will give you. Follow the Dragon Isles Await quest chain that pops up to get that. And after turning in, he will start a
Blue, come in as
repeating, daily
DPS.
quest for 30. There's also then the Heirloom Trinket. Each type of elemental boss has a decent chance to drop an item that basically, you combine one item of all 4 elements and you get the new trinket. So you'll definitely have to wait for a few cycles to get all 4 elements, but it's pretty easy if you're doing this for the gears, for the gear and the levels anyway. The trinket itself, though, doesn't seem that good in our limited testing.
Could use some DPS and a tank.
It's a stack basically it's a stat stick with an underwhelming damage proc. But hey, the effect looks cool. Anyway, hopefully we've convinced you that this is a pretty decent way to get some levels and gear all at the same time while progressing through the event and unlocking yourself
The elemental invasions
nice
are
mobs.
a guaranteed way to level up quickly. You could literally sit in that thing all day and just destroy mobs.
Okay, tips. Number 1, use talents. Talent into whatever gives you the most ability to tag mobs. So the more AoE, the better. The longer the range it is, the better. If you're a healer, obviously swap to your DPS spec. If you're melee, swap to a range spec. Everything you can do to just be able to tag more mobs. Tip 2, don't be afraid to reposition. If the boss goes down and you notice most of the players leave and the mob killing has slowed down, that's when you should go somewhere else. Each of the zones are positioned to be very quick from the Cataclysm portals. Just take the Uldum portal and fly north to Ungaro. Take the Hyjal portal and fly south to the Northern
Yeah, took me a
Barrens,
second to realize the
and,
Cataclysm
Badlands,
portals are
of
the way
course,
to
is
really
just
go to these
south of
things.
the Twilight Highlands portal. Obviously, the Horde can get to the Barrens from Orc, and the Alliance are pretty close to the Badlands anyway, but it's only a 5-minute trip at most to another zone, especially if your Hearthstone is set to a capital city. Don't be AFK unless you need to. In a zone full of players, it can be tempting to just stand in one area, press a button every now and then. We found it's a bit faster and a bit more engaging though when you actively run about the place tagging mobs. The distance between portals is enough that you can tag twice as many mobs if you run back and forth, so really do. Tip 4, if you're bored, park your character and come back later. As we said, rested XP literally doubles how much you get, so if you don't feel like doing it today, maybe farm it out tomorrow and just park your character in an inn and get some rested XP now.
Get that rested XP.
Obviously, the counterpoint here is you'll still want to farm out enough Primeval Essence to gear up, so yeah, you'll have to put in the hours some way. Tip 5, all the currency is account bound.
That's
so
right.
do whatever the hell you want. If you find you've hit 60, but you don't
we do
have the
need a tank
currency
side
needed
title.
to fully gear, you can start another alt, even if you don't want to gear it up now, and then you can just mail the essence currency over to the alt you actually want to do.
Oh, you could totally funnel everything to whatever you want your main to be. The amount of account funneling you can do right now is crazy.
On. Tip 6 then, don't burn yourself out. You can just park your characters and do this for like 10 to 15 minutes at a time, maybe while listening to a YouTube video, reading dinner or something. Getting every reward for this event is quite a job, but if you're just leveling and gearing like one character from the mid-40s to 60, it's actually a good time. And then finally, remember the heirloom bonus, right? So the set bonus for heirloom items will basically make your rested XP go 60% further, which obviously does mean that the very bountiful period of rested XP for this event will last longer if you're using your heirlooms. All in all then, this is a pretty nice event. It is Blizzard loosening the reins on gearing and leveling so that people just have something to do. I suppose actually a bit like with the Legion pre-patch, though not as insane. So there you go. Makes sense. Maybe something to do on your new Drakthir Evoker.
Yes.
Of course, I would say to you, we have been working on our Dragon series.
Yeah,
it is
it's not just a Drakthir thing,
basically ever tried at lore content. It's,
like I said, you guys can get in here and gear out anything right now.
Just click the box.
My God.
Hop over there, enjoy it, and I'll see you next time.
Yes, any alt you want, gear it out now. It's the time. It's the time. And it's never been this good of a time. Great video. Okay. Let's see what we got here. We got shit to kill and things and bosses to loot. And bosses to loot, people.